Hey peeps, we're gonna check out the 2024 Fox Float X2. Is it a complete makeover or just a fancy upgrade? On the Fox's website, it bombards you with this tech talk, but honestly, these new models look identical to the old ones. They're like twins. Suspension is where the magic happens, and it's not on the outside. Unboxing this thing feels epic. I feel like I'm wielding Excalibur, but those moments of triumph end quickly because the shock's only going to look like this for about 60 minutes. Clickers, yep, same old story, same amount of clicks, and everything feels identical. The chassis of the shock is 57 millimeters, identical to the old one. Now, like all Fox Float X2 rodeos, it starts with removing the air from the shock slowly. At this point, it's time to peel that foreskin off and pop a couple tokens in her. Carefully put it back together, clean your mess up, put it on your bike, and make sure the air valve doesn't leave a graffiti mark or a hole. We got some serious breaking news for you on this new X2. It feels like a rear shock. Now, I'm gonna have to go ride this to tell you how it feels. So coming in hot, it feels good. A little bit early to do any reporting. First huck to flat, the fork feels like trash. I'm like, a new shock and the fork doesn't feel good? What is going on? Adding a couple clicks of high-speed compression, I continued on my trail ride. The new X2 definitely has a different vibe. You know, it's hard to explain in a video or actually see what's going on, but it seems like it's reacting faster. Another thing I noticed, it does feel a little bit firmer. But it's also like 30 degrees outside, so who knows. Cross-country riding or normal trail riding, the X2 maintains its same characteristics as before. Things only change once you get deeper into the travel. So up here, there's a couple jumps and I almost crash up here because the characteristic is so different. Kind of nose heavy. I'm like, what is going on? I've really got to take my time here. Most notable thing, it is more poppy and jumps better. Because of that new characteristic, the fork felt off. I went to max high-speed compression and added about 5 clicks of low speed because the front felt softer than the rear. I don't know what they did to this shock, probably some thicker oil in the new X2. Now keep in mind I put the precise amount of tokens, air pressure, and compression clicks into the new X2 as I had before. You're gonna have to retune your fork and take your time. Dropping in on the stiffer fork, oh yeah, this shock is way more poppy. And more fun, I might add. A little bit early into the adventure, but I can tell you it's starting to feel more like RockShox. And it wouldn't be an X2 video without some tuning. That new characteristic demands a slower rebound. Rolling on full 29 and 170 travel, the bike is feeling pretty playful. The front was a little divey and the rear was a little firm, so I pulled the shock off to remove a token. So second ride with 2 tokens on some challenging steep terrain. I can promise you they have stolen some compression from this shock. It feels like it's using more air pressure for the support in the stroke. I'm also running like 3 extra clicks of low and high speed compression and it still doesn't feel as damped as before. So lining her up for my favorite jump line, let's see how she does. So one massive benefit from stealing compression, it definitely has a better jumping characteristic, and I honestly like it with less tokens installed. Problem is, when you're a big girl on an e-bike, anytime you go off a drop, you just clap it out. Super quick hack here, if you don't have enough tokens in your X2, just hit the climb lever. It rides really good with that thing locked out. I couldn't serve you the correct Fox Float X2 experience without some frustration, so I pulled the shock off again to add the token back in. 3 tokens later, I'm exactly where I started. Welcome to the world of the Fox Float X2. You can expect a more poppy and playful feel from the previous model. The new X2 is starting to give me RockShox vibes. Now, I want you to keep in mind, suspension feel is interpretation, but it feels like they've stripped that pure downhill racing performance out of the new Fox Float X2. And let's face it, most of us are just bumbling intermediate riders, cruising down blue flow trails, praying for those 3 bike park days a year we get. But don't worry, because the damping on this shock is much better than RockShox. And if you need some extra damping, just hit the climb switch. One notable thing on the new X2 is it's much quieter. Here, let's listen to the old one. Keep your token count the same. You're gonna have to adjust the rebound and the compression because it's such a new shock, but you have to click the video on the screen to avoid these massive setup mistakes.